The Pike County Animal Welfare Shelter, or PAWS, is a nonprofit no-kill animal shelter in Petersburg, Indiana, and the only shelter in Pike County. Many animal shelters across the country face similar difficulties, such as a lack of funding or running out of room for stray animals that have been neglected, abandoned, or surrendered. But for PAWS in Petersburg, the issue is more urgent. They are now running out of time. Board member Lindsay Kiesel.
When we took over and got on the board here for PAWS, we were told that they were already in financial distress. They had about 3 months of operating funds left. And the board members were just older, and they didn't have the time, the resources, they didn't know what to do to keep PAWS afloat. So a few younger members were added, including myself, and we have fundraised like crazy. We've reached out to businesses. The community really has stepped up for us, but we get in so many animals, more than our facility has ever held. We don't want to say no. We don't want to turn strays away and leave them homeless. So vet bills are higher than they've ever been in the history of this shelter. Expenses are higher.
With monthly operating costs nearing $10,000, the shelter is now in serious jeopardy.
Per the last board meeting, we have 1 more month of operating expenses left. Our last vet bill totaled around $8,000. So that's just one bill alone, not including all of our utilities and other expenses.
Although numerous measures have been taken by the board and volunteers to cut costs, the rising price of food, medication, and treatments, the issue is compounded by the sheer amount of animals that wound up in the shelter that is already way past its capacity. Board member Ashley Willis.
This is where we store some of our food. We store it in different places. We've actually run out of storage. We've had some donations, but we have averaged about 70 animals in the shelter, so you can imagine we go through a lot of food and treats. Most of our dogs are big dogs. They eat a lot of food. We have some animals that are on specialized diets, so we have to be sure and get the right amount of food, right kind of food for them.
The board has done what it can to try to alleviate some of the pressure.
So this is an area that we built on to house the influx of strays and just intakes that we get. Before we had to house them in crates, and that just wasn't acceptable for us. We knew they needed more space, more outside time.
Despite the possible impending closure, board member Ashley Willis remains optimistic.
We are the only shelter in the county. We are all the homeless animals have, all the neglected animals have. We are everything to these animals in the county. So we have to work together, everybody come together for the animals in Pike County.
So what happens if PAWS is forced to close its doors for good?
Their future is undetermined. We will do our best to reach out to rescues and try to get help, try to get them placed, but we are a no-kill shelter, and we can't guarantee that if they go to another rescue that they wouldn't be. I mean, we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't look for those, obviously, but the main place would be find them placement. So it's just unknown what the future holds for them.
Despite the long hours and constant stress of trying to keep the lights on, Lindsay and the rest of the board and volunteers at PAWS share a common passion.
I love animals, and I realize if we aren't here for them, nobody else will be. We're the ones that show up day after day and look after animals that are unwanted, that have been abused, that have been hurt, that have been left behind. They have to have someone, so why not me?
From the Pike County Animal Welfare Shelter, I'm Jared Atkins for 18 WJTS.